Hello teacher. Hello students. Welcome to today's lesson on documents and special terminologies used in foreign trade. In our previous lesson, we discussed about foreign trade. Foreign trade is a trade which one country carries on with another country, which is beyond the national boundaries. The basis for foreign trade are the traditional theories of economics, namely absolute and comparative advantages. An absolute advantage is the ability to produce a specific product more efficiently than any other nation, whereas a comparative advantage is the ability of a nation to produce a specific product more efficiently than any other product. Students, in today's lesson, we will learn about documents and special terminologies used in foreign trade. We will start our lesson by discussing the classification of trade documents. The international trade documents may be classified under transport documents, official documents, insurance document, and commercial documents. The transport document comprises of mate's receipt and bill of loading. Official document consists of consular invoice and certificate of origin. The third document is insurance document with its component insurance policy certificate. Certificate of origin and packing list are under commercial documents. Now let's discuss mate's receipt, which is the first element in the transportation documents. Mate's receipt is a prima facie evidence of quantity and condition of the goods received. It is a temporary receipt issued by the ship's chief officer or mate of the ship. On the basis of mate's receipt, the shipper has to pay the port dues and other charges. Now let's proceed to bill of loading and discuss the definition of bill of loading, the different types of bill of loading, the purpose and the form in which it is issued. Bill of loading is an official receipt of the shipping company acknowledging receipt of goods on board. The steamer contains the terms and conditions on which it has agreed to carry the goods to the port of destination. Now I want you to do the following exercise by discussing with the student sitting next to you. You have 2 minutes. Get ready. List and briefly describe the basic information that must be contained in the bill of loading. Students, have you listed and briefly described the basic information that must be contained in the bill of lading? Good. Let's now provide you the answer so that you can compare it with your responses. The bill of lading must contain the following information. Address. The full address of the consignee should always be shown. Destination. The destination should be accurate. Description of goods. The description of the goods covered by the bill of lading should be complete and exact regarding quantity and quality. Other information may be necessary to allow the carrier to classify and properly rate the shipment. Students, now let us discuss special types of bill of lading. Different types of bill of lading are common, such as ocean bill of lading, inland bills of lading, airway bill, and postal parcel receipt. Each type of bill of lading are explained as follows. Ocean bill of lading is a document that covers the movement of goods by sea. It may be issued in either straight or order form. Steamship companies issue such bills of lading. It has been the most common practice to issue ocean bills in sets of 3 originals. However, there is a trend in international trade to issue 1 or more original bills of lading. Inland bills of lading are issued by railroad lines or truck lines. Unlike ocean carriers, the inland carrier never issues more than 1 originals of such bills. Airway bill is a receipt for goods carried by air. This is also known as air consignment note. Airway bill is generally issued by air carriers for merchandise to be delivered to a party at some named destination. Parcel post receipts are issued by the Postal Service and are non-negotiable. The merchandise is deliverable to the addressee only. The receipt is evidence of dispatch only. Students, bill of lading has very important purposes. Bill of lading is a receipt for the goods shipped and serves as an evidence of the contract of carriage. It is also a document of title to the goods and transferable by endorsement and delivery. Now I want you to do the following exercise by discussing with the students sitting next to you. You have 2 minutes. Discuss the distinct functions served by the bill of lading. Students, have you discussed the distinct functions served by the bill of lading? Good. There are 3 distinct functions served by the bill of lading. A receipt is issued by a carrier to a shipper for goods received for transportation. It states the place and date of the shipment, describes the goods, their quality, weight, dimensions, identification marks, condition, etc. A contract naming the parties involved, the specific rate or charge for transportation, and the agreement and stipulations regarding the limitations of the carrier's common law liability in the case of loss or injury to the goods. Documentary evidence of title to the goods. Negotiable bills of lading are made out to the order of a consignee, and the carrier may only deliver the cargo to the person in possession of the original bill of lading. Students, the bill of lading may be issued in 2 forms: the straight bill of lading and the order bill of lading. The straight bill of lading is a bill that provides for delivery only to the party named in the bill of lading and to no one else. In this case, the carrier or his agent must be certain that the party receiving the goods is actually the party named in the bill. On the other hand, the order bill of lading is a negotiable instrument which provides for delivery to a named party or his order or anyone he may designate by endorsement of the bill of lading. Now I want you to do the following exercise by discussing with your groupmates. You have 3 minutes. Discuss the main difference between the straight bill of lading and the order bill of lading. Students, have you discussed the difference between the straight bill of lading and the order bill of lading? Good. The following are the major differences. The straight bill of lading provides for delivery only to the party named in the bill of lading. The order bill of lading provides for delivery to a named party or his order. Students, let me wind up today's discussion by summarizing the main points. Today, we have learned about the transportation documents used in international trade. Transport documents that are being used at present in the international trade are mate's receipt and bill of lading. Mate's receipt is a temporary receipt that enables the shipper to pay the port dues and other charges. Bill of lading is an official receipt of the shipping company acknowledging receipt of goods on board the steamer. The bill of lading has the following purposes: as a document of title of the goods, as a receipt from the shipping company, and as a contract for transportation of the goods. Besides, we have seen special types of bill of lading, such as ocean bill of lading, inland bills of lading, airway bill, and parcel post receipts. This brings us to the end of today's lesson. In our next lesson, we will be discussing official documents, insurance document, and commercial documents. Until then, goodbye teacher, goodbye students.